Welcome to the 14 Minutes of Heaven we call the last D1 Baseball College World Series live stream of the year. It is the day of Game 3 of the College World Series Finals. We love a good Game 3, boys. We love it. This is what we yearned for last year when we were watching YouTube highlights of Game 3s. I am Michael Patrick Rooney. We've got the great Stitchhead, Eric Sorenson. We've got Kendall Rogers. We've got Aaron Fitt. We've got the whole crew. And boys, let's take care of business. First of all, since is our last podcast or live stream of the postseason. All of these have been brought to us by our good friends at Wilson, and I think it's so cool. Wilson, Evo Shield, D. Marini, Louisville Slugger, all those powerhouse baseball brands under one roof. So we are so grateful to the folks at Wilson. Obviously, their brands and the quality of their brands speak for themselves. But what a great partnership! We really appreciate it. And boys, this is it. This is the last podcast of the postseason because the postseason ends today. I'm knocking on wood just in case Mother Nature is. Although you fired Mother Nature, Stitch, did you not? Is that official?
Yeah, I think I did. She doesn't listen very well, though.
No, she doesn't. She is on her own program for sure. So, gentlemen, we're gonna do Game 3 predictions, and I guess we might as well sum up the first two games or yesterday's game. Kendall, let me start with you. You were very convicted in your Mississippi State prediction yesterday. What did you see in the actual game?
Well, I thought it was kind of the opposite of what Mississippi State did against Vanderbilt in the first game, in the sense that when you look at yesterday's game, Mississippi State got out to a lead, and Vanderbilt didn't really kind of recalibrate. Mississippi State just kept piling on and piling on. Granted, Vanderbilt kind of threw in the towel a little bit with some of the guys they brought in. But still, as you look back at the first game, I thought Mississippi State maybe have taken some momentum out of that game. I don't see any way Vanderbilt took any momentum from yesterday's game. I mean, that was just an old-school butt-whipping. So I think if you're Mississippi State, you're feeling very good going into today's game. And I think the biggest thing that stands out to me is the fact that Preston Johnson was so good yesterday and was able to preserve Landon Sims for tonight's game.
Boy, he was awesome. Hey, Stitch, you were you're there as Fitzy and KR are as well. I'd love to get your take on one of the keys to yesterday's game. To me, was that Mississippi State was able to get the crowd going and keep them going. From your perspective, what did the stadium feel like, Stitch?
Well, it certainly felt like a home game for Mississippi State. I mean, we all saw that. Being down in the crowd is interesting. Trying to shoot around my pictures around them is a pain in the butt. But it's loud. They've got good. They've definitely. One of the funnier things is when the Vanderbilt whistler starts doing his whistle. The three whistles they answer with MSU or Let's Go State, which I thought it was funny.
Excellent.
But no, it's a good kind of smart alecky way to get back at the Vanderbilt whistler. But,
I love it.
Definitely a vibe. I mean, every bit of the stadium that I've gone to is just full of. It's just all Maroons. I mean, Maroon fans. It just is. I mean, that's how it is. You see that small pocket of Vanderbilt fans. It's almost like they're playing a Pac-12 school or something, because Vanderbilt just has a small pocket of people, and Mississippi State dominates everything else. So it's just like in 2013 when they played UCLA, and it was half the state of Mississippi was up here, and it is definitely loud. And the thing is that on the first game, that home run was just electric. It just got the fans fired up, and I was just like, oh man, holy cow. Mississippi State means it. And of course, next thing you know, Vanderbilt hooks a 7 on them. So that was certainly, and then from there, the State fans either got really nasty and angry and started yelling bad things, or they just were quiet and sitting on their hands. But that was not the case last night. And I think that, and Kendall kind of mentioned it, a little bit of momentum is going to go on Mississippi State's side going into this one. So that's what's going to be interesting. But of course, Kumar Rocker can squash momentum better than anybody. So there you have it.
Yeah, and Fitzy, let me fast forward to you with kind of what it looks like for today. I guess where I want to start is, I think both head coaches have done a brilliant job managing their pitching staffs coming into this Game 3. And again, the relievers that threw, the Preston Johnsons of the world, they have to accommodate that, right? Like you can't manage your bullpen properly if everybody just, implodes on the mound. But they did, where I'm going with that, Fitzy, is, man, like this Game 3 almost sets up better than we could have even dreamed it would set up.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, here we are. We've got ace versus ace, in a game to decide the national title. That's pretty fun. I mean, it's, a guy who won the 2019 Most Outstanding Player Award. I mean, I think Chris Lemonis yesterday called him one of the greatest college baseball pitchers of this era, or maybe he said of all time. I don't know. I mean, it was high praise, but certainly his legacy, Rocker's legacy, is it's already secure, and he's got a chance to add to it today. But I mean, Will Bednar, he's been probably the best guy out here, I would say. I mean, if you look at the start he had against Texas, and then followed up with another really good appearance in the next week, and those two guys, I know they're not completely fresh. I mean, Rocker has 4 days rest, which I think is plenty. I mean, it's not the full rest that a college pitcher is used to, but it's still like the same as you get as a big league starter, right? I mean, every 4 days those guys go. Bednar in 3 days. I mean, I think I know they've managed his pitch count very carefully all season long. So you're right. I mean, the key thing yesterday, you guys are right. Houston Harding, Preston Johnson able to go the distance for Mississippi State, but also, I mean, just the fact that they broke that game open so early allowed them to not even have to worry about Landon Sims. I mean, like they were in control so early, and I feel like that's such a huge thing for Mississippi State, is having a fresh Sims. He hasn't pitched now since Saturday. 3 full days of rest. They didn't use him on Monday or Tuesday, and he was off Sunday. That sets up really well for those guys.
Yep, no question. Hey, before we jump into, I want to do our predictions. I've got some questions I want to ask you guys that'll get us to our predictions. So somebody, F is asking us the Drover count for the week. Anybody? I'm just a 1 spot. How about you, Fitzy and KR and Stitch?
I think we only did 2. I think it's tragic. I think we only hit it up twice. Ken, am I forgetting something?
We were gonna go today, but we went a little too late. So
I feel like 2 is a veteran move, though, right? Like it's like you're kind of acting like you've been there before, but you're not like underdoing it. I don't know. Like I'm gonna tip my hat to you guys on a 2 spot.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
I only went once, and sadly today was the day I went. I waited until now to go to the Drover, so shame on me. But I still have one more chance tomorrow, so I might make amends for that. I might get to my 2 count after all.
80 procrastination, Stitch. Look at you. You've only been there for 5 weeks, for God's sakes.
I know. Good night, nurse.
He's paid his state taxes already.
Yes, that's right.
That's right.
Hey, let's do this, guys. I want to ask you guys a couple themes that'll take us to our predictions. Here's one thing. I think the great Rob Anderson, whose tweets at this time of the year are just, legendary. Is he the SID at Creighton, or one of the SIDs at Creighton?
Yeah.
Do we know
he's a head SID at Creighton.
Yeah, he's awesome. His Twitter game this time of year is just super elite. So he made a point on Twitter that this is the most wide open, most outstanding player has ever been. Like I think we're kind of starting down a couple roads for most outstanding player. So let me just leave it as wide open as you want. And Fitzy, I'm going to start with you. What are you thinking for most outstanding player? Like, is there anybody that comes into today with a lead, or is it just super wide open? Whoever takes over game 3 probably ends up being our MOP.
Yeah, you're probably right, because it's Rocker versus Bednar, and I feel like if one of those guys really pitches well, that's probably your answer. I mean, especially if you look at what they've done out here so far, they've both been really good. I mean, Bednar's come into this thing with a 2.19 ERA in 12 innings in the World Series. Madden was really good out here. Jack Leiter was really good out here. I mean, I think maybe Leiter could get it if Vanderbilt wins and Rocker's just okay. But position player wise, I don't really feel like there's a guy for either one of these teams that feels like a slam dunk. Am I forgetting somebody here?
Maybe Tanner Allen if he goes off again tonight. But here's the thing, Fitzy, Jack Leiter's 1-1 out here.
Yeah,
it's like that would be really odd. But I think you're right, Fitzy. I think everything you just said is exactly where, because even Rocker and Bednar, like, what are they going 5 innings tonight? And so. My next question for you guys, just as a teaser, is I want to talk about what type of game we anticipate, because I think that, like, I'm anticipating the last pitch of the game is going to be where we're deciding this thing. So Rocker and Bednar are, like, their time has passed there. But so Kendall, let me go to you next. What are you thinking for MOP? What are your thoughts coming in tonight?
I think if he throws well tonight, it's going to be Bednar. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's had 22 strikeouts and 12 in the 3rd innings with only 3 walks. I mean, if he puts together another really good start and Mississippi State wins tonight, for me, I think he's kind of the slam dunk most valuable player.
That's a good call, because this would be the 3rd game he would have started that Mississippi State won, correct?
Yeah.
I'm making his resume for him.
I think also
ahead,
might need to watch out for CJ Rodriguez. Defensively, he's been great. And of course, you mentioned Runes. You already mentioned Tanner Allen certainly has a chance if he does something big in this game. But yeah, a lot of the big studs, especially the leadoff guys, being quiet. Rowdy Jordan hasn't been great. Enrique Bradfield hasn't been great either. I keep looking for both of those guys to come out of their funk a little bit. But yeah, I kind of like CJ Rodriguez. If it's going to be it's probably not, but if it's going to be a position player, he's done really well. But again, nothing like Adley Rutschman or anything like that. But just solid defense, and so I'd look for maybe a sneaky inclusion of him and Tanner Allen.
Well, you know who's the leading hitter here in Omaha? It's Newtown Edgemont Little League's own Chris Newell. Chris Newell.
Right, Chris.
What are his numbers, Fitzy?
He's hitting 600, Runes, 6 for 10, 2 home runs and 5 RBIs. So
he's been
Chris
a little
Newell.
quiet the last few days, though.
A little quiet last few days, but I'd say maybe he's your front runner, Runes. There you go.
Hey, Fitzy, if I've told you one thing about Malvern Prep fighting Friars, the brighter the lights, baby. The brighter the lights. Let's go.
That's right. He's a Friar. He's not Newtown Edgemont, is he? Did I mess that up?
No, he's both.
Right.
He is Green Machine alumnus and Malvern Prep fight. Why do you think he's hitting 600 in Omaha? Because he's got both of those, superpowers, if you will.
Friars.
So that's right. Go Friars. Boys, let's talk about type of game and feel free to bleed this into X Factor, and I'll start. I'm just, again, I said it already. I think this is coming down to the final pitches of this game. I think it's going to be lower scoring. And, I am, okay, let's put it out there. These two teams have been just totally polar opposite defensively. And I don't know, that feels like that matters in a one-run game that comes down to the end. But again, I don't perceive Vandy as a bad defensive team. I perceive Vandy as a team playing bad defense. And so I don't know what to make of that. But Fitzy, you take it from here.
I am downright concerned about the left side of their infield. Really, I mean, it's been really shaky. And I mean, heck, they've got 10 errors now in this World Series. Mississippi State still has yet to make an error in 6 games. They're fielding 1,000. Vandy fielding 952. I mean, 3 more errors yesterday for Vandy. I just think, as talented as Carter Young is, and we've all seen him make spectacular plays a lot this year, he hasn't looked very comfortable to me, and he's made some mistakes, and I don't know if he just hasn't been the same guy since he came back from the injury or whatever it is. We've seen Gonzalez sail some throws at third base, and that to me feels like a difference maker in this matchup. The fact that Mississippi State has just been absolutely, locked in defensively the entire week, and Vanderbilt has not.
Yeah, hey, Carter Young, Chris Burke had a stat on Carter Young. I think he had 5 errors coming into either the postseason or the College World Series. Regardless, both numbers are a complete joke how hard that is to pull off, right? Go through an SEC season to make 5 errors as the everyday shortstop is an insanely good season. But you're right, I'm with you, Fitzy. He looks not confident. He does not. I mean, every ball hit to him right now is an adventure, which there's no way I was saying that 3 months ago. KR, give me your thought on type of game, X factors, that type of thing.
I kind of go with the same theme, defense. And I think the big thing with State is, I think they're going to actually be able to quell the Vanderbilt offense pretty well. Aaron and I were actually talking over lunch. I actually kind of feel like Mississippi State wins this game something like 8-4, 9-4. I just feel like they're going to, with their offensive approach, I think they're going to make Kumar throw a lot of pitches. I think they're going to get him out of the game. And of course, Luke Murphy and guys like that are good pitchers. But I just have a weird feeling. Mississippi State is a team or an athletics program that has played 999 seasons of varsity sports without a national championship in a major sport. I think it ends before we get to 1,000 tonight.
That's interesting. When you said that, Kendall, too, think about those right-handed relievers for Vanderbilt, Murphy, McIlvain, Maldonado. I think left-handed hitters are your better option against those guys, and that's what Hail State's got. I think their most important hitters are going to hit left-handed in this game. So that's a good point. Stitch, what are you thinking here for type of game?
I'm going against Kendall on this one. I think it's going to be like the Mississippi State-Texas game, 2-1 type of deal. I think the pitching's going to take over. I think they got all the offense out of the last 2 days, obviously, and I have a feeling that Bedmar's already proven to be really good here, and Kumar Rocker's been here a number of times. He's an old pro at this stuff. I just think both of them are going to come out throwing BBs, and probably come down to whoever's relief corps does better. Obviously, I'm talking about Landon Sims or the M boys. And you make a good point about the righty-lefty matchups, though, Runes. That does seem to give a good advantage to Mississippi State. But I don't know. Something tells me it's going to be a tight game, and I would really hate to see it to come down to whoever makes the last big faux pas on defense.
Yes,
but that certainly is something that could play a factor in this one too.
That's right. We want someone, or we want like a great play ending this, not a great mistake. Absolutely.
Yeah, not a bonehead play. Yeah.
So who's your pick, Stitch?
You start us off on the pick, Stitch. Who you going with?
Doing the picks. Okay. Well, I kind of thought about this. You know, if you'd have told me in February, if you'd have said, "Hey, Game 3 of the College World Series, Kumar Rocker on the mound. Who do you like, Kumar Rocker or the field?" I'd be like, "Oh, give me Kumar Rocker." No doubt about it. Of course,
Team
things
Kumar.
change, obviously, and we're here at the College World Series now, and games have been 16 or 15 games have been played, whatever the case may be. I'm still going to go with, and I hate to do this, but I'm still going to go with Vanderbilt, just by a pinch of salt on this one, just because I think about Kumar Rocker on the mound. I think about the experience he has here over the years. Got to go with him. It's hard to bet against him when the bright spotlight's on him.
Yep. Fitzy.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable pick, and I've gone back and forth because who wants to pick against Kumar Rocker? I mean, that's no fun, and that's a recipe for a stressful evening. I will tell you your CWS win report brought to you by Chris Gennaro. Wind's blowing out, so I don't know what that means. I mean, could be a more offensive game.
It's blowing out. I don't know what it means.
Could be more offensive game. I mean, we saw what happened when the wind was blowing out and Bednar pitched against Texas that first game. They kept trying to, jump on that high heater and run it out of there and either swing underneath it or popping it up. But he's this high spin rate up in the zone kind of guy, and sometimes those guys can be susceptible to long ball. So, I mean, that's something to think about. But all that said, I just think Mississippi State has played so much better here. I mean, I don't know if that's really fair to say, because it's not like Mississippi State has had periods where their offense has kind of disappeared and then quick strike, or they've capitalized on mistakes. We've seen that pattern repeatedly in this World Series. But again, they played much cleaner defense from the start to the finish here, and the offense really looks alive right now. I know yesterday it can fool you a little bit because again, it's like that 21-2 NC State Arkansas game where it's like, all right, we're down early, let's just kind of empty the bullpen here and save our big bullets for the next day. I think clearly Vanderbilt did that yesterday, so I don't want to read too much into it. But that said, I just felt like, I don't know, it felt like these bats were just kind of taking better at bats, these guys, and I think they're coming together at the right time. And I think Mississippi State with Landon Sims back there in addition to Bednar, I just think that's ultimately the big difference. I just really believe in Landon Sims, so I'm taking Hail State.
I like it. Kendall, I think I know where you're going, but let's make it official.
Yeah, Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State wins the national championship tonight. And I think, the thing about Landon Sims now, guys, is he's had 3 full days off. I mean, he had Sunday off because they didn't play. He had obviously Monday and Tuesday off. So he said, I mean, for a guy in his position, this is pretty much like full rest for a closer. So, I mean, he's 100% fresh for me.
Yeah, and when Landon Sims has been fresh, boys, it is just ridiculous stuff. I mean, just 2 blow the roof off the doors type of offerings, to quote the great Matthew Barrett, quoting him a lot lately. By the way, Kendall, you dropped the word quell on us a couple minutes ago. Can we get some positive points for that, Fitzy, on the nonsense tracker? It's a pretty legit word right there.
+1. I like the word quell. I'll allow it.
Yeah, thank you.
It's exemplary.
It is exemplary. Speaking of, boys, here's what I come down to, because I'm with you, Fitzy. I've been flip-flopping all day. It's like the pedigree of Vandy looms large right now. They don't have the pressure of getting off the schneid, and there's so much pedigree in this program. You mentioned Kumar Rocker, and then it's the performance of Mississippi State. They've played great. They've pitched great, and so it's like that pedigree is haunting me. But it's like, do you really want to bet against the team that's playing better and clearly playing better? And I think Tanner Allen is my X factor, and I just feel like Tanner Allen is not letting this team get consumed with hey, we got to get the monkey off our back. Tanner Allen, that's just not his vibe. And so I'm going Hail State too. I do think this is going to be a nail biter. I think this game's going to be tense until the end with a lot of drama. I'm really curious to see that. But yeah, give me the Bulldogs. As the boys say, dogs win again.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the first time we've all bet against Eric here, and I don't know how it's worked out in the past. I feel like has he gotten us a few times?
State.
Yeah.
I picked NC State against Arkansas. I'm still living on that until next year. So
absolutely, you might have gotten us. Was it the Vandy Arizona game? Were you solo on that one? I can't remember, but you've had your moments here, Stitch.
Yeah, I think that's true, and usually I'm wrong, but that's okay because again, when Mississippi State makes the last bonehead play tonight and Vanderbilt scores, you guys are all going to be thinking about my wonderful pick. So there you go.
The first thing I'm going to think of
the College World Series.
That's right. Look at that. Subliminal. So, gentlemen, well done. Appreciate it. These were really fun to do during the College World Series. I love this live stream function.
Yeah, good stuff.
This has been fun. Stitch, always a pleasure. Gentlemen, enjoy your last evening in Omaha. Again, thanks to our great friends at Wilson, and everyone enjoy the game. Looking forward to a Game 3 to end the 2021 college baseball.